How to Eat Fried Worms, Chapter 7, Red Crash Helmets and White Jumpsuits. After the movies, Tom walked home with Billy. Tomorrow I'll roll the crawler around in cornmeal and fry it like a trout. It's not really the taste, said Billy, it's more the thought. When I start to eat it, even though it's smothered in ketchup and mustard and grated cheese, I can't stop thinking worm. Worm, 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 worm. Gaggles of worms in bait boxes, drowned worms drying up on sidewalks, a worm squirming as the fishhook gores into him, the soggy end of a worm dragging out of a dead fish's mouth, robins yanking worms out of a lawn. I can't stop thinking worm. Yeah, but if I fry it in cornmeal, it won't look like a crawler, said Tom. I'll put parsley around it and some slices of lemon, and then you can concentrate. Think fish. All the time you're waiting in the barn, all the time you're eating it, keep saying to yourself, fish, 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 fish. Here I am, eating fish, good fish. Trout, salmon, flounder, perch. I'll ride my mini bike into church. Dace, tuna, haddock, trout. Wait till you hear the minister shout. Fish, 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 fish. Shark, haddock, sucker, eel. I'll race my father in his automobile. Eel, flounder, bluegill, shark. We'll race all day till after dark. Billy cheered up. Think how I'll all stare. I'd rev up the aisle, zip around the front pews, down a side aisle under the stained glass windows. My parents would kill me. Reverend Yarder'd peer down over the Bible stand. William, he'd cry, William, you take that engine thing out of here this minute. Yeah, then they'd come chasing out after us, said Tom. Billy laughed, waving their arms and yelling, and we'd lead them zigzag round and in and out and among the gravestones and monuments in the cemetery, and then roar off down the Sandgate Road, leaving them draped over tombs, panting and shaking their fists. Hup, hup, yelled Tom, dancing around and boxing the air. And that Monday we'd smuggle it into class disguised as Raymond Dwelly because he's so fat, and hide it in the coat closet, and then when Millie Butler said anything at all, even something like, "Excuse me," or even if she sniffed, we'd dump a whole bottle of ink over her head and run for the coat closet, overturning chairs and desks behind us to slow up Mrs. Howard. She'd come after us, fuming and shouting threats, and suddenly the doors of the coat closet would slam open and we'd roar out on our mini bike in blood-red crash helmets and white jumpsuits, our scarves streaming out behind us. And we'd roar round and round the classroom while Mrs. Howard knelt among the overturned desks and chairs, sobbing helplessly into her hands. And then, rum, rum, out the door and up the hall, thumbing our noses at the monitors. Brackety, 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 up the stairs, stiff-arming tacklers, into Mr. Simmons's office, up onto his desk. Brum, brum! A backfire into his face, and then zoom! Out the window as he topples backward in a chair in a hurricane of quiz papers and report cards. And then, crunch! Landing on the driveway, we roar off down the highway to Bennington and join the Navy so Mrs. Howard and Mr. Simmons and our parents can't punish us.